Okay, like I said, I'm Tom Gibbons. I'm the instructional designer here at South Seattle College in e-learning. So my office is back there behind several locked doors, actually just one. We're kind of back in the corner. Sometimes I'm hanging out in the TLC. Most of what I do is I create support resources and provide direct support for faculty who teach online or hybrid classes or are using web-enhanced tools. One of those things that we are concerned with is accessibility. My approach to accessibility generally tends to be that anytime we can add some sort of what is traditionally considered an accessibility accommodation or affordance, it actually helps everybody, particularly captioning for video. Captioning for video is probably the most labor-intensive thing that we have to do in terms of accommodation or making our content accessible. But it helps lots of people. We have a very large population of non-native speakers of English here. Helps them. I just started doing these Canvas weekly tips, and I sent out the video, and immediately a faculty member replied and was like, "This is great. It's too bad that none of the faculty on campus have speakers on their computers in their offices." And I went, "But it's captioned." And he's like, "Oh yeah, right, I forgot you do that." And I was like, "Yeah." So it helps them, helps people when they're on the bus. Maybe they don't have headphones. But my story is usually like, imagine the student that is not an atypical student for us in community college system who works a full-time job, has a commute, is trying to be a full-time student, is a parent, right? And they finally get home. It's 11:30 at night. You know, they're doing they've done everything at home with the kids, and the kids are in bed, and maybe they have the one kid, and they're holding them, and they're ill, and they finally got them to go to sleep, and then they're like, I should probably start doing my homework, and they go in and they look at their class, and the first item is watch this video, and they're like on a tablet or like a mobile phone or something, and they're like, oh. So if we caption those videos, they can keep the volume off, keep the kid quiet, right, asleep. We're just helping everybody. It's not just people who have a hearing loss or non-native speakers of English. But even if it were just those folks, we should still be doing it because the law says we should, as well as just sort of general best practices. And the other thing that you can do once you have well, we'll talk about that. I was going to blow one of my reveals here, so I'll just let it reveal on its own. Okay.
You must describe my life, by the way.
Yeah. Well, see, lots of folks are like that. By the way, this is a tiny URL for this course site. It's publicly facing Canvas shell. It has all of the resources that I'll be talking about today, as well as some additional stuff. Angela, actually pulled in the majority of the retreat shell and put it up here, and it's public. So this will take you there, and you can access any of this stuff. Right. So the first thing that I usually like to start off with is this video, because for me, I think it's pretty powerful. So I'm going to play it.
Why is it important to provide accessibility to your course materials and instruction? It meets students' varying learning styles. It supports English as second language learners. It provides access for students with disabilities. And it's the law. Would you understand this video without captions or voiceover? Think about it.
Okay. We'll talk a little bit about how to get rid of this stuff in YouTube as well. Actually, there's information about it, but I don't know. We'll talk about it. But anyway, what do you guys think of that?
A nice flip of my experience.
Yeah. So we have this expectation that when we access information online, that we will be able to access that information and it will be, given to us because we actually have a whole lot of privilege as speakers of English living in the United States. We have a lot of access to information through the internet. The primary language of communication online around the world is English, and so we get access to lots of stuff. But that doesn't mean that. And so sometimes we don't get that experience, right, of being shut out of what's actually happening. Angela, you were at that Capacity Building Institute, right? Were you at UW? No, it was me and Rose. That's right. And Sabrina from Central. Okay. So at University of Washington last spring, I got to go to this thing about accessibility, and there was a student panel with students with varying disabilities. And there was a student with profound hearing loss, and she was talking about having been in a class where the instructor played a video, and the video was captioned. But it was auto-captioning through YouTube. And if you've ever seen auto-captioning through YouTube, or any speech-to-text, our voicemail, for example, that gets sent to your inbox, you know how ridiculous that is. But in order to get the joke, in general, you have to have both pieces, right? You have to have the sound and the text. You could look at the text and go, that looks like a Salvador Dali poem or something, right? But so anyway, the student was telling this story about her experience in the YouTube video, and it was auto-captioning, and everybody was laughing, except her, because she couldn't understand what was going on at all. And the whole reason that the captions got put on was for her. And she was actually crying about it. First-year student, undergrad, and she was like, I just had to ask the instructor to please turn the captions off because it wasn't doing anything, right, except for making people laugh. And so she felt very left out. So this is another reason why, right? Like, so anyway. All right. So I'm going to show some things, and then I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to work with some files as well and to practice a little bit. So this is an example of a video that is created here in Canvas, or was created actually, it's of Canvas. So I'm going to play this video. What works about this video and what doesn't? Pay attention particularly, actually, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to have you folks leave your eyes open, and you gentlemen please close your eyes while I play this. Just operate based on the audio. And you guys will get both pieces.
Okay, to find your assignment feedback, you just want to go into your class. You can go to grades, find that assignment, click on it. Okay, and now I can see my comments here. I can look at my rubric, and I can see where I've gotten points. And then I can also view my feedback right here, like this, by clicking on that guy. And I just can see everything that I need to see right there. And that's it.
Okay. So that's it. What was the experience of that like for you, ladies? Would you be able to engage that process? Like if I said, go find the feedback on the assignment in Canvas, would you be able to do that based on that video?
Yeah.
You could probably play it back, right? What about you guys?
No, not at all. I have recently been learning Canvas more
Okay.
than I had previously, so I happen to have a visual cue. I could walk
Right.
myself through what I thought I was hearing.
Okay, cool. So the reason why I do this is because the visual and the audio, like the visual is actually a pretty good demonstration of like, do this, go here, you know, but the actual voiceover is terrible, right? Because it's saying, like, go here, do this, click on that guy, right? And that is not helpful, right? If you can't see. So when we're talking about accessible video, we're not just talking about captioning, we're also talking about providing audible landmarks that are going to potentially communicate this appropriate information to students who can't see. Right? So, or providing a text-based equivalent for those students as well. So here's another version of that video. And I'm not going to go full screen on this one, but everybody keep your eyes open, that's fine.
Your feedback in Canvas. You can click on Recent Feedback in the right-hand sidebar. You can click on Grades in the top menu. You can go to Assignments and click on the name of the assignment there, or you can go directly to Courses. Within your course, you can click on Grades, scroll down to the assignment that you would like to view, click on the name of the assignment. Once you're in the Submission Details view, you can read comments in the right-hand sidebar directly from your teacher. You can reply to those comments. You can click on the Show Rubric link in the upper right-hand corner and see all of the rubric assessment if it's available. You can close out of the rubric by clicking X in the upper right-hand corner. And you can view detailed feedback on your assignment by clicking the View Feedback button. If your instructor has left comments for you directly on your submission, you can view them here. Click the X in the upper right-hand corner of that window to get rid of it.
Okay, so what was different about that one? Better? Worse?
No, more specific direction.
Okay, yes, a specific description. The reason I didn't go full screen on this one is because frequently students don't know that they can go full screen. They may not know that they can just kind of go, and so they may be looking at the video and going, and trying to, which, you know, small, right? Even up, like the resolution on the projector is not great because it's a projector. So there are ways that we can actually deploy video that make it more accessible. Even if your actual content is built accessibly, deploying it within Canvas or whatever content delivery system you're using, you can actually create impediments, right, to the accessibility of that content, right? And Angela did a workshop on accessible documents, building accessible documents in Word last week. One of the things that you can do, for example, to deploy inaccessible content is to make it relatively accessible in one platform and then convert it to like a PDF. And that makes it less accessible. And then you put the PDF in a Canvas page, and it's not bad, but it's not great. And a lot of times people will approach that kind of thing and they'll go, oh, well, I just want them to print it out. Which does what for blind students, exactly, right? So like the printout does not help. If you're deploying it electronically, take advantage of those resources. So, okay, so here's a third option.
Your feedback in Canvas. You can click on Recent Feedback in the right-hand sidebar. You can click on Grades in the top menu. You can go to Assignments and click on the name of the assignment there, or you can go directly to Courses. Within your course, you can click on Grades, scroll down to the assignment that you would like to view, click on the name of the assignment. Once you're in the Submission Details view, you can read comments in the right-hand sidebar directly from your teacher. You can reply to those comments. You can click on the Show Rubric link in the upper right-hand corner and see all of the rubric.
So you get the idea. Wait, we've seen that once already. It's actually the exact same video. I've just embedded it into Canvas differently. I have changed the embed code so that it is 100% of the width of the viewable area, and it's about 600 pixels high. I've changed the embed code so that the closed captions automatically render, and you have to turn them off rather than choosing to turn them on. And the other thing that I did when you make captions, frequently you're generating a plain text transcript and then converting it into a time-coded caption file. Well, if you have a plain text transcript, give it to your students. Why wouldn't you? Because text is randomly accessible. Video is not. It requires you to shuttle through the video and go, God, where did they say that thing? Minute 2, I guess. So if you provide a transcript, it can sometimes give people a ballpark of where to look in the video, or make it so they don't have to open up the video again at all. And they may actually prefer to just read the text rather than watching the video, because some students watching the video is a real distraction for them, and they don't get it. Like, it doesn't sink in for them. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you real quick is that you can also do, I'll hit play, get us to the end. With the embed code, you can make changes to not just turn on the closed captioning, but also turn off suggested videos at the end, which a lot of faculty find disturbing or alarming or a distraction for their students. I have found it to be all of those things when I'm showing a YouTube video in class, and it's like, here are some suggested videos, and it's like, no, not those. Sorry, guys. I just wanted you to see this little thing on writing, right? And it's like this sort of really inappropriate suggestion has popped up in the grid of suggestions, and it's like, that's a problem. And now we know why K-12 filters YouTube. Angela, did you have a question?
Yes, so you had mentioned plain text transcripts,
Mm-hmm.
and just because I knew kind of when I started doing some of this stuff, I didn't really understand what plain text was. Could you clarify maybe?
Sure. So plain text just means that there's no formatting involved. And in fact, I have an example of a plain text transcript right here. So it's just text. If you're working in a PC, you put it in Notepad. If you're working on a Mac, it's in TextEdit. And it's just plain text. Usually the file extension is .txt. This is stylestranscript.txt, right? So there's no bolding, there's no special fonts. These are all, this is actually a monospace font, so all the characters take up the same amount of space. It means there's nothing in there. It's like typing on a typewriter. The only thing that you can do is line breaks.
Does plain text have some kind of technological advantage if you're using it to something else?
The only benefit that plain text has is that there's nothing in it to throw off the caption encoder, right? So like if you're using a captioning engine of some sort, it doesn't, there's nothing, there's no, let me see if I can say this in a way that is not me falling over myself. When you format a document in a program like Word or whatever, there's a lot of other data in the flow of the text that you don't see. It's invisible. And it sits kind of behind this visible text. In a plain text transcript, there is nothing but text, period. It's tiny. It's a tiny file. It's just characters. If you were to look at the plain text rendering of a Word document, you would probably not be able to read it real well. It's an XML now. It used to be much worse. If you were to try and read the plain text character version of a PDF, you would not be able to read it at all. It's just crazy, unless you're a coder, right? Unless you're a PDF technician. So that's all. It's just, this gets rid of all the other stuff that might interfere. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me get back into the flow of the module here. Okay, so there are a couple of sets of instructions in here for, this is how to caption in Canvas. Honestly, the video capture in Canvas, is this going to actually load? Okay, there we go. The video capture in Canvas, I find difficult to use, and I tend to recommend against it if you can avoid it. But if you do have to record a video on the fly in Canvas or upload a raw video file into Canvas for some reason, there are ways to caption it. This is the captioning process document in Canvas. I just want you to notice just going to keep going. How much this takes to do this. Not done yet. Okay, there's the end, right? That's how it is really involved. because what you're doing is you're creating the video, you're waiting for the video to render, because it actually gets offloaded to a third-party vendor for compression, right, so that it doesn't take up so much space in your class. You have to go in, get the URL out of there, then go into Amara. Amara's fine. I find Amara, again, a little difficult to use, but not bad. It's way better than it used to be. It's a captioning tool that is free and available online. And any video that exists online that you can get to, you can create captions for it, which is cool. So if you don't own a YouTube video and you need to show it in your class, you can actually use Amara to create a caption file for it. And it also gives you a link that basically, if you use that link for the video, then students will see the captioning and the video. It basically creates a composite of your caption and your video. So you go out to Amara, you take that URL, you create your caption file, you get the caption file, you download it, you go back to Canvas, open up that video again, upload the file into the video, save it, save the page, wait, then the transcript, then it all syncs up and works. It takes like 30 seconds once you've uploaded the transcript file for everything to kind of shake out. But for me, I find that a very difficult process to do. It's daunting. And it's not something I would ever ask anyone to do. If you need to do it, I can always help you. Okay. So this is captioning with YouTube. This is a fairly involved document. Again, it looks like it takes some time, but it's actually pretty easy, and I'm going to show you how to do it. This is my preferred workflow for captioning. If I have to caption something and I can get it into YouTube, that's what I'm going to do. Just because it's so much easier to do. Because all I have to do is type. And then once I'm done typing, I poke a button, and YouTube takes care of the rest. It takes care of putting the appropriate amount of text on the screen for the appropriate amount of time and syncing that with my voice. So I'm not sitting there going, I guess that's 4 seconds, and where do I break it? And then like figure it. And it becomes really, I tend to get really lost in that process where I'm going, is it right? 4 seconds, I guess. Because that's how long a caption should stay on the screen for, is about 4 seconds. Should probably not be any longer than about 2 lines. And 2 lines it may be pushing it, depending on the density of the text. Another nice thing about YouTube is if you create the video, upload it to YouTube, and you speak slowly and clearly, and like you're from the Midwest, if you speak like my mother, if you upload it to YouTube, the speech-to-text, where it's doing the auto-captioning, actually works pretty well. Then you can actually go in and edit the auto-captioning. So you aren't having to do a whole heck of a lot to it. Another sort of tricky shortcut that you can use the speech-to-text function on your phone. So if you have an iPhone, for example, because Android 2 actually does it real well. But I think, does anybody have an Android phone? Yes? No? No? Okay. I know on the iPhone keyboard there's a little microphone button, like just to the left of the spacebar. You can open up an email that you're going to send to yourself, poke the little microphone button, click play on the video that you've just created, and hold it up to the speaker. And then pause it when, because the speech-to-text will only run so long on your phone, maybe 45 seconds, then start it again. And you can get kind of a workable transcript that way, and then clean it up. Honestly, I was experimenting with that today, and I was watching it do it on the screen, and I was like, oh, it's actually pretty good. And then it would pause and jump back and like correct what I did into like completely ridiculous sentences, which was a little frustrating because I've done that. I've done the speech-to-text thing like in a browser where like, because Chrome actually has pretty good speech-to-text engine. And in Canvas, if you're using Chrome and you're commenting on student assignments, you can actually click a little button and it will transcribe your speech, and it does a really good job. And I've used speech-to-text to write emails to people on my phone, and it does a really good job. But in this case, for some reason, it was going, oh, no, wait, maybe I think that you actually meant something about salsa dancing, when what I said was something about South Seattle College, and it like sort of went back and fixed it. So, but anyway, YouTube is my preferred workflow. I'm going to show you how to do it here in just a second. Where else are we going here? Ah, it's my sample video file. Okay, so this is a sample video file that you'll be able to download and use if you want to sort of play around with this and how the captioning engine works. So let me get out here into the module again. Okay, so this is that transcript file, and I am going to copy this because I'm going to need it here in a second. So there are a couple of different ways that you can do this.
Creating content.
Okay, so that's me. But I'm going to sign in. Let's see here. This is on my Seattle Central account for some reason. Okay.
Create.
Once you're in YouTube, you go into the video manager and you find your video that you're looking for. Let me see if I can find it. Forget it. I'll do it this way.
Creating content.
If it's your video and you're logged in, you get a row of tools along the bottom. This is an edit, this is a enhancement, audio, annotations, cards, and then subtitles and closed captioning. You just click on that. It takes you into the closed captioning area. Right now I have nothing because I went in here and deleted the auto captioning because I didn't want it in there. But if it did do auto captioning, there are many reasons why it may not. If you have audio background, like if you have like a, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? A soundtrack underneath, it may not recognize what's going on. If there's a lot of background noise, if there are sudden loud noises in weird spots, YouTube may just go, if it's longer than 10 minutes, there's a setting that you have to change to say, you know, like try to do auto captionings for things that are longer than 10 minutes, and then it'll go up to an hour. It's actually, there's one button, right? Add new subtitles or closed captioning. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me zoom in a little bit. All right. You have to pick the language. So I can upload a file, I can transcribe in autosync, or I can create new subtitles or closed captioning. Transcribe in autosync is easy if you already have the file typed out. If you type as fast as people talk, that's great. I applaud you. And you have a marketable skill. I'm sure you have many marketable skills, but that's a hard one, right? Like, it's hard to do that. And I'm always amazed when I see people do it. But you can, if you have the file already, great. If you don't, the transcribe in autosync is actually pretty great. So what you do is you click in here into this box and you type what's spoken. There are buttons here to go back 5 seconds, or to play. This turns into a pause button while you're once you start it. And then there's this checkbox here that says pause video while typing. Again, if you type as fast as someone speaks, uncheck that box and just type away. If you don't, when you start to type, the video will stop. And when you stop typing, the video starts again. This is actually the opposite of the way most captioning engines work. When you press play on other captioning engines, it will continue to go for as long as you type. And then if you stop typing, it stops, and then you have to crank it back. Because it presumes that the people who are doing the captioning do type as fast as people speak. Because, again, that would be the skill that you would want to have if you were hired as a captioner. This is built for regular humans. So I'll show you what it looks like.
Creating content.
See?
Styles. The rich content editor allows you to stop. I will be the appearance of your text in various ways, but some methods of styling are
So this isn't terrible.
on others. When styling
I'm going to let it go for a second, but I can also do shift back arrow.
On others. Text in various ways, but some methods of styling are friendlier than others. When styling content in Canvas, you should always
I can pause it. I can play it. So there are keyboard shortcuts that actually make this a lot easier to do. So if it kind of gets away from you, that happens, you just do shift back arrow and it cranks it back 5 seconds. Or if you think you've got it but you're not sure if you missed something, shift back arrow, back 5 seconds, you can check it against what you have typed in. So shift spacebar is a play, pause, toggle. So that's, those keystroke commands are very simple. There's just 2 of them and they do 3 different things. I find this to be really easy to do. I watched a movie and captioned an 11-minute video right before the quarter started. Like I was sitting on the couch watching a video or watching a movie with my husband and just kind of like typing. Had an earphone in my ear, so it wasn't disturbing Star Wars. Just sitting there going, just kind of hanging out and kind of getting to it. Like, there's sort of a slow spot. Okay, I'll do some stuff. Like, it was really easy to do. It took me the entire movie to do it. Like, if I were just focusing on it, it probably would have taken me about half an hour. It probably takes me about 2 to 3 minutes for every minute of stuff. So you can see it adds a fair amount of time to your workflow. For things that you will be reusing, having a durable, that you know it's a durable video, you're going to be using it over and over again, it's worth making the investment, I think. But if you do have a plain text transcript, like say you're the one making the video, but you want someone else to do the transcribing, like you have a student worker who's going to do it, and then you've done all the other stuff, and then they're just going to transcribe, and then they give you the transcript, that's great. The only thing that you want to do for YouTube is hit enter twice to leave a blank line if there's a pause of 3 seconds or more. It helps it. It's not absolutely required, but it's kind of a little flag going, hey, this doesn't really work. Or have them go in and update the auto text and correct the auto text. You could do that too. But if you have a full transcript, I can just paste that in here because I pulled that off of that previous file. That's where that came from. So you can see I've got this here. So I would create a similar sort of thing on my, like, typing into the box. Now I'm just going to do this. Set timings. And it shows this little thing here that says setting timings. Just going to keep reloading the page because it only takes a few seconds for a video this long, which is only 1:40. It finished it 3 seconds ago. So once it's done, you have to come back in here and publish those captions. Where's the publish button? There it is. Sorry. They move things slightly every now and then, and I forget where they are. Okay, now that it's got the green dot, that means it's done. This is actually kind of cool too. Like if you have, if you know you have a population of folks that speak another language, and you want to caption this in another language, you can actually create captioning in, I think it's 164 different languages. 169. So you can search for it. So I've got English on here, but if I wanted to do Spanish or Vietnamese or whatever, if I spoke those languages and had a translation, I could just do it.
It's not going to translate for you.
It's not going to translate for you. And I think you would have to do the time coding. But maybe not. Like, I mean, because I can't imagine that it would go, oh yeah, this sentence in German lines up with this sentence in English. I can't imagine. So it's a little more involved. But you can have multiple language files running at once. Right? So if you clicked on CC here and you had multiple language files, a menu would pop up and you'd go, which one do you want? And you pick it and move on. So now, if I play this,
creating content. Styles. The rich content editor allows you to style the appearance of your text in various ways. but some methods of styling are friendlier than others. When styling content in Canvas,
And I
you should
did
always
nothing
start with the paragraph
to set the
drop-down
timing on that. It just did it for me. Right? I just said, here's the text, go for it. And this is because it sort of leverages their speech-to-text technology. Only what it's doing is saying, okay, yeah, do speech-to-text, but limit it to this set of information. Right? Here's the file that you can use. All right. So, do you feel comfortable with this idea that you could do this? Awesome. Want to try? If you go to this site and go to the modules area, scroll down to resources. In that first module, you'll see a sample video file, and you can download that video file, upload it to YouTube if you have a YouTube account, and then practice with the transcription engine if you like.
And you do that using this that you have right
Yep.
here. Is that
If you
correct?
follow this URL, it'll open to this class on this page. Right. Then just get into modules. First module is video captioning. Under resources, there's the sample video file. Here's how to create a YouTube account if you don't already have one. This YouTube URL qualifiers, this is a page that explains how to embed YouTube videos so that they are bigger, have the captions turned on, and don't give you recommended videos at the end. Here's a how-to single sheet for how to caption in YouTube. Here's also instructions directly from Google on how to use YouTube and caption. If you use Panopto, here's how you can caption. If you're a Panopto user, these are captioning walkthroughs in Panopto under the resources. So you can use YouTube exactly like I've shown you to do this. So you can actually pull the Panopto video out, download it, and upload it to YouTube and make YouTube do a lot of the work for you. You can also use Amara, which is what is built into Canvas, well, sort of linked into Canvas. And there's information about how to get to Amara and how to use the captioning tool in Canvas, for example. It's the same sort of process. And then there's also instructions here on how to use Panopto if you are a Panopto user, and how to caption right in Panopto, which is a huge drag. It's terrible. It starts like it bases its time coding based on your typing. So when you start to type, it's like, okay, that's when I'll start displaying the caption, and then you hit enter to get to a new caption, and that's when it takes it off. And so you have to be really fast and go and precise with like hitting the keys.
But you can do the YouTube one.
Right, yeah, you can pull it out. If you're a Panopto user, you can absolutely pull it out. So you get access to all of the Panopto stuff. You can pull it out, upload the podcast to YouTube, do your captioning in YouTube, and then still use Panopto. It just sort of makes it easier.
I apologize.
Yeah. Please.
This is great.
Yep. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna bow out as well.
Okay, yeah, if you don't want to play, that's cool. And you are more than welcome to get in touch if you need anything. But yeah, so this has a collection of resources for everything that I've talked about, as well as walkthroughs on how to do those things.
This is cool. This is your primary resource that you send a faculty member to, and they're getting just exposed.
So these things were, a lot of this stuff was scattered in various places until this summer when we did an accessibility retreat for statewide folks. And we pulled a bunch of, there were 4 of us that worked on it together. We pulled a bunch of those resources together, and I just pulled it back out and was like, okay, now here's I finally have a place that my stuff is organized, and so, and I just put this up today. So, and I'm really just, I only started here full time in July. So, yeah. So this is new, but totally available to anybody, and this is the same kind of information that I would give to people if they needed it. Yeah. Cool.
Nice to meet you, Tom.
Nice to meet you.
Jill walked Eric Clufstead and myself through some very basic
Mhm.
stuff a couple weeks back, and yeah, I think that's how we were introduced. produce through email.
Okay. Yeah, if you need anything in regard to Canvas, let me know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Sure. All right.
Bye, John.
You're a veteran.